When we started the campaign, like 20-something years ago, over a quarter century, even when we started, it was impossible. I mean, everybody, okay, my friends, my brother would say, you're really gonna put your energy in this? Let's go surfing.
I never thought surfing would be in the Olympics, period.
We all just looked and just rolled our eyes back at, like, come on, Fernando. Surfing will never make it.
Mostly in those rooms, I was laughing for Fernando, going, yeah, sure.
I've never actually dreamed of being in the Olympic because surfing wasn't an Olympic sport.
I never thought surfing would be in the Olympic sports.
The Olympics wasn't ever a dream of mine because it wasn't a reality, it wasn't tangible.
It's the biggest event in the world. Fernando is the reason why we're all there.
What he's done to put surfing into the Olympics has been extraordinary.
He single-handedly had the vision and pulled off the Olympics, which is a huge achievement.
He has given up a lot of his life for this.
How many people in the world devote 10,000 hours of their life to something purely out of passion, purely out of the joy for it?
It's like me telling you I'm gonna, swim around the world. 27 years later, he pulled it off.
He never stops.
He's a dreamer.
He's a showcase.
We're on. Take 100. Everything that I wear from what I do in the morning, but the moment I get out of bed, is something that I say, okay, today I'm gonna be in this too. So is anybody gonna jump in or go alone?
Well, Fernando's one of those passionate people on the planet, so you can just feel his just coming out of his skin about his view on the industry and surfing and Argentina and love. Hello, I love you, wanna take me out, name. His passion for his business, passion for his life, passion for his sport. I mean, he's one of the most hardcore surfers I've ever known in my life.
I am Fernando here, out there, or wherever I am. Normally when I'm in public or people don't know, it's a joke about me. It's like, have fun with me, laugh at me. And then when they start laughing, they relax, and then I can convince them of give me the money for the environment, give me the money for humanitarian causes, or let us be in the Olympic Games. Everybody wants to smile, to laugh, to have a good time. So I think that's what I don't know, I'm just trying to have a good time. I don't want the movie to be serious, because if we're serious, we're f***ed. I was born in Mar del Plata, in Argentina. I was raised there with my brother Santiago. So we were best friends. I wouldn't be here where I am if it were for my parents and my brother.
We had a dad that came from a small town, 10,000 people in the ranch, so nature and everything came from his side. On the other side, we had a mother that was very entrepreneurial.
She focused on what needs to be done so things happen. And if something was difficult or somebody said, well, this cannot happen, she saw an opportunity.
Fernando was a bit shy when he was young. I mean, he was a little bit introverted. He didn't have maybe the skills for soccer or surfing or dancing or whatever it was.
I was a good student. I was kind of the intellectual brother. My brother was much better than me. By 10 he was playing soccer, rugby, tennis, everything. I wanted to be good at other things, so I focused on other things. I was collecting stamps. Which 10-year-old collects stamps? I don't know. Many times I drifted away from the ocean. My brother will be the one that will reel me in back into the ocean. In many ways, surfing saved my life and allowed me to stay active. I think that as terrible as it was to feel insecure and to be shy, at one point I realized that it was just too painful to be like that, so I wanted to change. So instead of being shy, kind of maybe the pendulum swung too far the other way. But I needed to do something about it.
About the age of 16, 17, he exploded literally. It was a matter of 2 months.
I moved from DJ to organizer of surfing contests, using my music system to play the music that kids wanted and the military had banned. The radios were censored and there were a list of music that you couldn't play. But that was the music that the kids wanted to hear. So I was playing that music on the beach for the surfers. And then a year later, surfing had exploded so much because we have done such a great job marketing surfing. I was the president of the Surfing Association, Santiago was the president of the Skateboard Association. So we're running surfing and skateboard contest, and then a year later, my brother comes, he tells me, we're gonna open a surf shop. I said, we're gonna open a surf shop? We don't have money. But we kill it. The first summer we kill it. We're making aloha shirts, board shorts, wax, leashes. We're all making that because nobody was making them in Argentina. Then the next year I came to California. In 1981, Santiago decided to move from Argentina to California.
Fernando came in 1984. When he finished law school, I had sent him a letter, which I still have. My first paper, when you open my drawer on my desk, is that letter, asking him, saying, listen, why don't you come over here to visit after you graduate from law school? Because if you go straight into your career, you're going to become one of those lawyers, and then we're going to see each other maybe every Christmas.
He told me that alone we were very capable, but together we were going to do great things together. I said, okay. So I burned my ships. I came on another one-way plane ticket. One-way, This is where two of our Argentinian brothers didn't know better, so they decided they weren't going to start a company. We had $4,000 and we barely spoke the language. When I landed, I lived 20 yards from here. We were 6 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. A little bit tight, but close to the ocean. Then we started Reef.
Probably 80, 82, somewhere right in there, when he first came over to California with his brother, and they were doing this little reef sandal thing, and we became very close friends, both Santiago and Fernando, and we've always been best friends. Yeah, I have a Reef for 20 years. My Reef business card said Jefe, which is chief, and Dreamer. La Jefe and Dreamer, Spanish and English. That was a card I would give to the president of the bank or whatever. He always made people laugh. Because, the guy like talking, when I asked him for an extra $1 million in loan to buy sandals, and the guy looks at this, I never lent money to somebody with this title. But Reef was really nothing. First year we sold 3,000 pairs, then 15,000 pairs. And then for the third year, we started full-page advertisements in Surfing magazine. And we went from 15,000 pairs to 100,000 pairs. I said, wow, let's do Surfer magazine too. And then we went to 250,000 pairs. Next year, I said, okay, now we can make a living selling sandals. And we sold it 20 years later. There were elections for the ISA to renew the executive committee. And somebody says, why don't you run for president? I say, no, because I'm the president of PASA. I say, well, you can be the president of both. 2 days later, we have elections, and I won in the first round by an absolute majority. There were 31 votes, and I got 16. So barely, but I got the votes. And a lot of people were not happy because they didn't know who I was. All the American, Australian, South African say, who the hell is this guy? Argentinian surfer businessman we never seen in any ISA organization. Yes, it's good to be the president. In 1996, I had already seek and obtained Olympic recognition of the ISA.
This trophy was not something solicited, it was just voluntarily donated and presented by Mr. Antonio Samaranch for the team world champion for the first time ever, an Olympic trophy for surfing.
And it was impossible to have a chance at the Olympic Games if we didn't have the best athletes, not just the national teams at the ISA. So I realized that it was essential to have the top professionals in their teams. So I started negotiating with the ASP, which the ASP and the ISA didn't talk to each other. There was like some sort of animosity against each other, and we strike a deal. And the deal was they will allow their surfers to compete in the national teams, and the ISA will change the name from ISA World Surfing Championship to ISA World Surfing Games. So there will be one world champion at the open division.
The International Surfing Association's World Surfing Games are underway at Surf City, Huntington Beach, California, USA. 36 countries compete to win the hearts of their respective nations and open the hearts of Olympic officials right here on Fox Sports.
Fernando agreed to change the name, which was a pretty important thing for us. In exchange for that, we basically agreed to provide a waiver, essentially a sanction, to allow all of our CT athletes to compete in all of his events going forward. So that was a significant change.
When I started thinking about all of this about the Olympics, and I went to Hawaii to have my first meeting with the ASP and the pro surfers to bring them to the initial World Surfing Games in '96, I found this book that just been printed. It's a biography of the Duke. And in the autobiography, he talks about that somebody one day is going to get surfing into the Olympics. And that he thought it was a perfect sport. Duke had asked the IOC to include surfing in 1920. I said, that's a crazy idea, no? And I was thinking about that, but when I saw that Duke asked about that, I said, okay, so this is like, I'm in firm grounds. This is the father of all surfers, the guy that made surfing what it is today. And we created an ongoing relationship with the professional tour. And my vision, even in '96, was that the national teams will be like the dream teams. So it will be like the United Nations. It was a way to bring the world together in a completely different way. It wasn't the professional tour, which was for money, 3 or 4 countries represented, the big surfing nations. So it was something else. And I never thought of replacing the professional tour. I thought we were adding value.
What's the difference between the professional tour and the ISA, or the WSL and the ISA? For all the Olympic sports, there are international federations that govern them. Just like football has FIFA.
Like Leo Messi plays in Barcelona, and he's the best soccer player in the world. But when it comes to FIFA World Cup, he plays for Argentina.
And we are a for-profit organization. We're privately held. We have fiduciary responsibilities to drive it. Our schedule, our intention, our tours are all rigid and sold for our partners to create the world's biggest platform for our athletes to perform on. The ISA, their intention, their goal is to participate in doing the same thing, but doing it through nonprofit opportunities, and then get our team and our surfers into the Olympics.
I've spent most of my professional life, working in the Olympic world. And I knew more or less when I first met Fernando that he had the right combination of a success story, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and authenticity that would resonate with the Olympic world.
But I also hired the best Olympic media guy, which was Mike Lee, an Englishman. He was the best of the best. So I have 2 of the best guys with me. It was a 3-man team. That's it. Bob is a more formal than me, more structured, more... it's Bob. That's, 25 years in the Olympic world. You are an Olympic inhabitant. And I'm more of an outsider, I show up, come with my ways of doing things, of saying things, of dressing. But it's a perfect combination.
And then there was this huge change in the Olympic world. 2013, they elect a new president, Thomas Bach from Germany. An Olympic gold medalist, his whole life devoted to the Olympic movement.
Can become a potent factor in securing universe. And I'm always...
Thomas Bach from Germany, he was elected in 2013. He said, I'm starting from scratch. I need to figure out what we need to change so we have a more vital, more connected with society Olympic movement. And one of the things was to open the door to new sports. His phrase was,
change or be changed.
And in the spring of 2015 comes an invitation from the Tokyo Organizing Committee for us to apply to be one of the new sports. We were one of 26 sports. This was in Rio, and it was the press conference when they announced the approval.
We're delighted to confirm officially baseball, softball, karate, skateboard, sport climbing and surfing will be on the program of Tokyo 2020, and for these games can be considered Olympic sports.
It's a very special feeling. It's like literally, it's been a 22-year paddle on this wave, Olympic wave. So it's a long paddle, and I'm glad that we were able to ride it and succeed. The ISA was founded in 1964 as the International Federation for the Sport of Surfing. In 2016, the ISA became an International Olympic Federation when surfing was officially included in the Tokyo Games.
Oh, those were emotional days, exciting days. You know, the culmination of a lot of work.
When surfing got announced into the Olympics, I think it was so exciting. It was such a new world that, you know, it opened surfing to a whole new world. That's like, for an athlete, that's pretty much the highest point that you can reach, you know.
Thomas Bach has been a very good supporter. And they say, you know, Thomas, we're not here just for Tokyo. He looks at me and says, I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
We always had as the ultimate goal to be considered a permanent part of the program.
I didn't know how, because at that time, talking beyond Tokyo was like, what are you talking about? There is no system for you to be any further than Tokyo. Besides, after Tokyo, we're going to review all the sports, and you might not make it to the next games. My first moment of really like Olympic dimension was the Miyazaki event, because they were the best surfers, all the dream teams all together. It was incredible. This was a vision that I had when I was selected. So 2019 was really the first time that a full dream was actually materializing. But, you know, there was qualification for the Olympic Games. Actually, there were a lot of the top professionals were already qualified. They just needed to surf in the national teams.
Being at the World Games, it was really something cool this year. You know, I haven't done it in a very long time. I've been on the tour for like 13 years, so it's such a selfish, kind of separate Czech sport. So for me to be able to go back and kind of reignite that team spirit, that fun, really.
Hustle, Kelly!
Just being so immersed in all the different cultures and people and trading hats and jerseys and everything. Walked through the first ISA opening ceremony representing Brazil. It was just so special. Now we're all striving towards a bigger goal.
The World Games are super special, you know, for a surfer. You want to take your country the furthest you can, you know. And you meet a lot of countries, you know, there's countries I didn't even know they were surfing there, honestly.
It's an amazing event. I meet so many people there. It's so nice seeing how surfing connect everybody. Connecting people on one love that it's surfing, and everybody is a person, so it doesn't matter if he has the flag of Iran behind his back, or this guy has this flag of the US behind his back, or the Moroccan flag, or the Israeli flag. It doesn't matter, because we're all surfers, and it breaks all boundaries.
As a professional surfer, I always travel by myself, for myself, and now we were part of a team representing France in Japan against other countries, you know? To have that feeling to be part of the team, and it was great, yeah.
I just want to say congrats to everyone, you know, I was surfing, super cool contest. I'm so tired now, there was a lot of heat and a lot of emotion moments, you know, and yeah, that was amazing.
Miyazaki was, in many ways, was the true test event for the Olympics and was very much what we were hoping for and expecting the next year.
I think it was February, end of February, when all the COVID thing started happening. I remember getting a bit like, whoa, like, oh, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden there's rumors about snapper not happening. Then there's a few countries almost trying to shut the borders.
Everything shut down and all the beaches were shutting down. It was pretty crazy and I was like, oh my God, and then they were canceling events.
Before COVID hit, I was in Hawaii. I was over there training and surfing, and at that point had to try and make the decision and the move to be able to get back to South Africa as the United States were shutting down their borders. We were fortunate enough to get on the last flight from Washington. It took us all in all about 2 weeks to get back home.
Yeah, it was crazy feeling because I feel like this whole pandemic, you only see that in movies, you know. And at first, when it started, we didn't really know what to expect, so which was kind of scary.
So when the world was starting to shut down and COVID started to become a reality, we were actually in Australia for a contest, and I remember clear as day when they made the announcement and they said that the WSL was going to be canceled.
I became CEO like the second week in 2020, and 90 days to me getting into that office, we declared a global pandemic and I shut down the tour.
The ocean was closed most of the time, and it was almost like a crime to go surfing, I think. There was cops all around and it was kind of hard when it was shut down.
The IOC first concern was if this thing takes 2 or 3 months, imagine, at that time, we didn't know, 2 or 3 months to get cured or to get over it, we won't be able to have the qualifiers. But that was for the Olympic Games happening in 2020. But a month later, it was obvious, or 3 weeks, it was going to be postponed. And there were no games. The games were postponed. And before the games, we still had to run the qualifiers. The qualifiers were going to be in El Salvador in 2020, they postponed to 2021, and in 2021, under the most strict biosecurity and with the whole world still coming out of the pandemic, we were able to do it in El Salvador. It was amazing. And you know what, just barely 60 days before the Olympic Games, there still were many doubts about how they were going to happen, but we were there, we were paddling hard for the Olympic wave. I think it was the most amazing World Surfing Games in the history of the ISA.
Let that one fly, perfect landing. Another one under the lip, and oh, does she come away? She comes away with that.
Here we go, Leon Glatzer going to the air, goes for the huge
goodness.
Corrupt flip, double rail grab, alley-oop air. That right there was the best air we've seen of this entire contest.
Just an unforgettable contest. And now we're going to the Olympic Games. I spent 22 years thinking about this. Waking up in the morning saying, shit, this is not gonna happen. And a reality was better than the dream, because it actually happened. I was living in the dream after I woke up. Arriving in Tokyo, there were 20 men and 20 women. So we were probably the smallest sport, the smallest amount of athletes of every sport in the games. And that list included 18 countries and 5 continents. So incredible diversification, but also the best, very, very best professionals were also there. The games were suspended in 2020. And all week I was looking at the ocean, and the ocean never got over 1.5 to 2 feet at the biggest. I said, well, I'm glad it wasn't this year. And then I said, okay, next year, well, you know, might be better. I'm arriving in Tokyo, turn my phone on, look, and it's like the surf line wave report. And it's this yellow turning to orange, turning to red, turning to purple, and going around the coast. So that I said, this is incredible. And then I started looking, and it was getting closer. We were like 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. I said, the waves are gonna be great on the first day, then better, and then best in the third day. And I remember hearing a meeting of all the federations together, and the president said, well, I guess we're all worried about the typhoon, but the surfers. The surfers are all happy, and yeah, we were happy. So I said, somebody's looking at us. Somebody wants us to be successful.
The opportunity to give the athletes and this sport the chance to shine on this platform and experience the power of the Olympic movement, for me, that's probably the most gratifying thing. As Fernando likes to say, we're sharing the love, and we're trying to promote something beyond just the commercial value of a sport. It's about breaking down barriers. It's about friendship. That is at the core and essence of what the ISA is.
We didn't go to a stadium. We didn't go to a man-made wave. We went to the ocean, and the IOC came to the ocean, and the president of the IOC came to the beach.
I just felt when walking along the beach how cool it is and how cool the athletes are when speaking with them, how excited they are about their sport. And then watching these performances is really breathtaking.
So, and he left the beach doing the shaka and talking about aloha, and you know, with a book, the biography of the Duke.
As Olimpíadas, claro que me tornou pouco mais forte, não maior que ninguém, mas me deu pouco mais de vontade de continuar buscando evoluir, de continuar no mesmo nível, crescendo e inspirando pessoas ao redor do mundo.
The women closing out competition in Tokyo was really a master stroke from Fernando. Historically, all the competitions have finished with the men.
The final of the ladies hit, and it wasn't raining, it was just a cloudy day, and suddenly it's like the rainbow in the horizon. I said, my God, this is like a joke. There was no rainbow in the whole day. It just happened to show up there. And we have the only Hawaiian-blooded native Hawaiian of the competition in the water.
I went to the Olympics with this bigger sense of like pride and purpose to represent my culture, where I'm from, and the sport of my ancestors. It felt just really special to be a small part of Duke's dream and his story, and to be able to win the gold medal in surfing for the first time and bring it back home to Hawaii. And I can honestly say I've never been more proud to be Hawaiian than I am in this moment. It's a huge part of who I am. This island, these people, this community that has raised me, I wouldn't be where I am today without them.
And in many ways, we gave a surfing hug to the Olympic movement. That I think we did. And it was so clear. Surfing is one of the 5 top events in social media of 33 Olympic sports. Maybe it's a stereotype, but we're the new wave.
Paris 2024, we approved 2024's proposal to have Place de la Concorde as a venue for the urban sports cluster and Tahiti as the venue for surfing.
And then when Paris finally said, no, we're going to do a whole different thing. We're going to Chopu. It's like we all went, oh my God, what an amazing idea.
Chopu is one of the most incredible waves, probably a wonder of the world.
And it's sort of like a whole nother world out there. It's godlike, it's quiet, serene, beautiful, tropical. The colors of the sun hitting that hill and lighting up the palm trees and the mountains and the different hues of all different color spectrum as the day moves on and changes. Then you have this glorious wave that comes off a reef, and it's so powerful and so beautiful.
The people that works at the Olympics, they came in Tahiti during the camp just to look around and just to feel the vibe and to see if the Olympics could happen here in Tahiti. So in August, here in Tahiti, we have waves. We have pumping waves for sure. Like 100% the waves will be here, the swell will be here, you know? And in France, it's summertime. And we all know summertime in France, there's no waves, it's flat, you know? So they can either have the best camp, probably the best show they could ever have in surfing history here in Tahiti, or the worst in France if they don't have waves, you know?
Tahiti was the Olympic world adapting to surfing and adapting to one of the most spectacular venues in the world. That was an extraordinary recognition of the value that we bring as a sport. It's the first time that such a bold effort has been made to showcase a sport in its natural, most spectacular location. That they were willing to adapt the location 15,000 miles away from the center of the games in order to have the best quality field of play.
The wave at Teahupo'o is super scary and beautiful at the same time.
I think it'll be a really exciting way to showcase all the athletes and their talent, and it'll put on a really good show for all the fans and viewers.
I think Chopu has the opportunity to capture the imagination visually for what people think surfing is. And you close your eyes and you think about what is surfing, and you visualize these massive barrels. You imagine these surfers being blown out of barrels with the spit coming behind them. That's what most people think surfing is, when they close their eyes and they sort of imagine that. Chopu will deliver that.
Most of my life I've been, living here in Tahiti, grew up surfing, learning everything from this island. Tahitians, they're all welcoming people, like we love to share our food, to share our knowledge.
What's cool about the Olympics, the Summer Olympics in 2024, and surfing taking place at the end of the road in Tahiti is that there really is no place to build this huge scaffolding or a stadium or setup, really.
I'm glad there's no scaffolding or tents or all that noise that would come along with normally an Olympic venue. It's going to be end of the road and out in the water and on the boats and the jet skis and all that kind of stuff, which will be cool.
They got it right for surfing, put it that way. I have to give them a lot of props and for the courage of making a commitment to Tahiti, for sure. The way it comes on camera is just incredible. So I think that And the fact that we can really showcase surfing in the ocean in a venue such as that is going to be incredible.
I think it's going to be very good. Now governments and Olympic committees are using their funds to support surfing. And now if a 10-year-old kid in Central America or Africa or Asia can think that he's going to be an Olympian, he doesn't need to be a tennis player or a gymnast or a boxer. He could be a surfer, a skateboarder.
Fernando has an amazing heart. And, he wears it on the outside. And there's no guessing around with him, and that for me has been a beautiful thing, to be able to work with someone like that who has such a deep and passionate connection to what he does. When everyone else believes that something's not possible, he continues to believe.
I just want to say thank you and express how much I appreciate the opportunity that, he didn't go out and do this for himself, but he did it for surfing and for the future generations.
I've been for 27 years the president. I never earned $1. I am a non-paid leader of the ISA. I never made a buck. One day I made a calculation of the amount of time that I spent to get surfing to the Olympics, and it was 12,000 hours. Give me 6 waves an hour, maybe I catch more, but let's say 6. 6 is okay. 6 waves an hour times 12,000, that's 84,000 waves that I did not surf. So Olympic surfing can exist.
There was such a huge mountain to climb. And no one had even thought about giving surfing the opportunity to go down that path. And it needed someone like a Fernando who was single-minded, driven, and had so much tenacity that, he wouldn't say no.
The compass was Duke. Vinny represents love. It's bigger than all of us. Remember, the games that happen against all odds, and the new sport that happened against all odds. If you wonder why I'm smiling, it's because after 27 years, I am here. It's the Olympic surfing, Tokyo 2020. I can't believe it. Wow. The only thing I have now is gratitude because of all the people that helped me ride that wave. And of course, my persistence and my resilience was kind of like was my engine, but my fuel, I think, was the support of all people. Even people that thought that I was a lunatic, that it was a lunacy, which I believe many times, that it was a lunacy.
As many of you may know, Fernando came all the way from Argentina. Within 5 years, he owned half the state of California, and he still can't pronounce it correctly.
California of California. California of Europe.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. As far as I know.
After so many years in the state, we would hope that he'd learn English.
California in the water. California. Southern California, whatever. California. They moved to California, raised in California. California of San Diego.
He will sell anything in the name of trying to raise funds for underprivileged people.
Dream it, walk it, love it, surf it. Dream it, walk it, love it, surf it. Dream it, walk it, love it, surf it. Everything is possible.
The only thing that you need to remember is when they tell you it won't happen, you just need to paddle harder. That's all.